Let's get started. Today we have a bronze Reyna game on Sunset. This is one of the bad matches, so don't be too harsh on this person. Right, first thing I notice is the place you're standing has no cover. So like if you get into a fight here, you have no way out unless you use your dismiss, which you only have one of. Let's see. Also, like when you stepped forward here, you looked left, but you're still exposed to this most dangerous angle that people tend to come from. If you were further on the right side, like if you started on this side from the beginning, you'd have this thing as cover for a little bit, and you can just watch this one side and you can make it out. Alternatively, you could start door side and push out this way, and use this as cover to sort of block you from this angle. But either way, in general, it's sort of dangerous to solo push out on defense. You probably want to take a buddy with you normally if you want to try something like this, or like especially an initiator who might have like a flash or a dart for you. Like if they darted this side, then you can more safely come this way without worrying about tiles, for instance. Definitely don't have to look here. That's your team side. But it looks like you have a timing for a fast flank. You get unlucky that he just runs up and checks you. Not too bad.
Spike planted.
Does give them the free sheriff though, which is a pretty powerful gun. But yeah, if you had a buddy with you, you guys would have had a 2v1 on that omen. It probably would have turned out, that round would have turned out very different.
Smoke's down.
So you keep switching back and forth here. So if you look, at any given time, if I just pause this, you're like not ready for like right here or right here. Like a lot of the time you're like partway in transition or you're off because like you're not as set, where your crosshair should probably be about here. And because you keep switching, it's like you're just oftentimes you're not ready. So if they come in at any of these timings, then you just die right here.
Fall back.
Right here.
You also give them a lot of information on your position. If there's someone in this smoke, they hear you running back here, running back site, jumping up and down, so they know that there's one back site. Whereas if you had moved around more silently, then like they wouldn't know where you are on site. Right, now they cleared out the close angles. So right now you're sort of fighting both sides. If someone comes in this side, they see. If someone comes in this side, they see you. So usually you want to stand in a way. If you stand more to the right, you isolate just one of these two sides of the smoke, one of these two most likely angles, and you just fight that one at a time because there's 5 of them and there's one of you. Also, it gives you a better chance of not getting hit by the Phoenix Flash when it comes out. Whereas if Phoenix flashes through this, you're almost guaranteed hit. Like that. And also the smoke's about to come down too. So if you had been closer to cover, you would have dodged the flash and you wouldn't have been exposed. So there's very few times that it's that Reyna can get caught with util out. You never want to pull out util when you have any chance of being exposed to an angle. So for instance, you could have moved up here while pulling out this eye and then tossed it. You don't have to like look to see where you toss the eye because it goes through walls.
Enemy spotted B.
So generally you don't want to put your eye very close to walls like this. If you see like anyone that's right here, for instance, wouldn't be hit by the eye because they'd have like this corner as cover on this side. Usually you want to put it like a little further. I guess it's like unless you wanted to only fight the right side. If you only fight the right side, then this eye is better because like this guy has to look at the eye in order to fight you from this angle. However, you're swinging further than that. Since you swung out further than that, like it is a little scary. You could also toss it higher than head height or lower than head height just to make it a little less likely to accidentally hit you. So here in these shots, I don't expect like too much like strafe shooting or dead zoning since you're still getting started. But know that when you use the sheriff, like standing still is one of the worst ways to use it because there's so much recoil reset time between your shots. Like if you look at your shot inaccuracy, you're not waiting long enough on these shots. The yellow bar means you're firing too quickly for it to be accurate. So even if you were on target, it wouldn't be hitting. And you want to be strafing between every shot. You might want to practice strafe dead zoning practice just to get used to what that feels like, just to make yourself like really hard to hit.
Immortal. I shall.
So last round was your save round. This round is your buy round. You guys have messed up your economy. So you guys lost round 1, so that means you have less money for round 2 than they do. So it's like saying like, oh, they have a better, like they have better cards in their poker hand or whatever. When you start a game of poker, let's go all in on that round. So you guys have done that, and now you're in round 3 because you lost round 2 as well. You guys have less money, and now when you're coming in, once again, you're like, oh, we have a less chance of winning, but everyone's still forcing. They're like overspending. So you're probably going to lose this round as well, and you guys will have less money than them next round, so you'll lose next round as well. So this should be 0-4 if they play reasonably well. You might want to hit like the let's save button if you want to save, but you notice your team is not. Alternatively, or in addition, like let's say your team just doesn't, and you load in with this setup, you probably want to just stick on your Sage and just try to get her rifle. And then at least conserve some of the money, or maybe like if she dies, then you can pick it up and then make more impact with that than whatever weapon you're going to end up with. Also, you usually want to buy your abilities anyway, even on save rounds, because you can choose not to use it, and then these still carry over into next round, unlike weapons or armor. You didn't rebuy it? You seem a little bit impatient. You seem to like to run around, jump around a lot. Gives them a lot of info. Also, slashing your knife is very audible, so they can, like, footsteps, you can sort of tell where someone is, but with a knife slash, it's like usually like, oh, they're exactly right there. So both of you are completely out in the open. This is a very, very dangerous angle. And this is also a very, very dangerous angle. So you got lucky that both of you didn't die right here. Shouldn't be pulling out your knife like that when you're in danger. Shouldn't be reloading when you're in the open. Look at that fight itself. Alright, so when she takes this fight, you notice that you're completely exposed in the open here. Like if you're a couple steps to the right, you could have been closer to this cover. So you can take one shot and strafe to cover. Step out, take one shot, strafe to cover. Like that's the power of the sheriff, is you don't have to be exposed all the time. You can strafe between those shots. And I don't really care if you miss shots, like that's just gonna happen. So because you're standing still with this, like you are an easy target. Because she's moving, she is a difficult target. This is actually a range that's more favored for the sheriff than the specter. So you're only strafing when you're not in combat. Like as soon as you start combat, you stop strafing.
There.
Also, I think are you holding too close to the wall? Alright, so if you watch this and try to pause it. Alright, so you notice like how you're like into the wall here, so you have to follow her as she comes out. And then again, you're holding here. And then she's gonna swing right past your crosshair before you fire. Actually, you move closer. You moved even closer. So this is where your crosshair is, and then when she swings out, by the time you react, I think she's about here. So you really have to think about like how far you have to hold your crosshair to catch her if she full runs out on the peak. Yeah, like right here. That's pretty much exactly where my crosshair was. So like you'll see like a lot of higher elo players, they might hold around here because that's like maybe they have better reaction time, or really more than reaction time, they're more mentally ready. So your reaction speed when you're not mentally ready might be like all the way out here. Your reaction speed when you're very, very mentally ready might be about like here or something like that. And then if you have like a pro player or something, maybe they can get even closer to like over here. So it's like really like you really have to scale how close you hold to the angle to like what your actual reaction time is. Skip ahead. So I also noticed that you don't like to like you usually play back when you're on this site. So a lot of people think that because you're playing further back, you're safer, but that also means the enemies are safer too. You also get less info than if you're up close. Like let's say you were just standing up here, and then when the round started, you just shift walk away. Like you can hear a lot of information B main. When people go B in lower elos especially, they tend to just like full run, full send it 5. So it's usually very obvious if they're doing like a B hit, as long as you're close enough to hear the footsteps, but you're out of footstep radius right now. Also, like another thing you could do is you can just stand here, and then before the enemies even have a chance to have the timing to swing you, just like shoot a couple shots like through the corner of the wall and then back off. Like oftentimes just applying a little pressure here, like forces them to slow down or forces them to use a lot of utility because they're like, oh shit, there's someone right here. I need to flash. I need to like, you know, use like fade prowler or something early. And that's like one less piece of util they have on site. And that's this way you can just be knife running away and like getting to the back of site or something. So here, once again, you're like still pretty far from your cover. Like there's a reason that like people pre-aim common angles is because it's actually so safe to be standing just behind this cover. When this guy swings out, like they cannot see this wall through this wall. So they have to just sort of guess where your head will be when they pop out. Also, you could be here and the elevation makes it slightly different angle than if you're further back. You just jumped out into the open with no cover, without your gun out. You know, just close the door. You're running towards the closed door right now. Your shorter route would have been through Boba. One knifing door. That should be calm to the team if you're comfortable using voice comms. And if you're not comfortable, you should be used to it. So at this point, they broke the door, so it's possible for someone to be almost here. Yep, there they are. That's 2 of them at least, 3 of them. Ran out into the open again. You spend a lot of time just in the open without your gun. Right here. And that Raze also didn't have her gun out.
For you.
So remember that your gun is an ability. Like this is an ability, sure, but your gun is an ability that does up to 1,500 plus damage per second. As long as you like, if you're aiming for head, or if you're not aiming for head, it's like hundreds of damage maybe.
Scanning ahead.
Reloading.
Spike planted.
So like whenever you get surprised or frightened, your first reaction should be take my gun out. Be ready for these sorts of fights. Only if you have time to prepare would you take your util out.
Defeated.
Gun here.
You would not put your gun out. Like they can swing you right here and then kill all of you already. You can still swing through this smoke technically and shoot you in the back. Teammates can't see that angle. Team's pushing, you should be advancing to. You could have traded this guy. So right here, like, so people don't generally stand in the open and move when they're in the open. People move in like a zigzag pattern where like they have cover from an angle, let's say this angle, and they just full run it up to here where like they don't expose themselves to the angle. They keep their crosshair ready here in case they get swung. And then once they're in position, like notice that stepping from here to here lets you see like back sight. So as this Brimstone approaches and fights, not this guy, fights this Cypher back sight, like you'd be able to just step from here to here and then this Cypher would be completely exposed and have to like do some crazy spray transfer to fight you. And then once again, you're not ready to join the fight. I didn't really expect her to just run out like that.
Enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Let's see.
One enemy.
And once you do join the fight, you come out wide here, which normally would be good if you know for a fact Omen's going to re-swing here. But like he doesn't, right? He comes out this side. So it'd actually be better if you were like closer to where like here this way to decrease the chance that Omen can find an angle to isolate a fight with you. Like you want to be so when it comes to spacing with teammates, you want to be as close to the teammate as you can without being in their horizontal strafe in case they get into a fight. And because when you're fighting, you only want to move left and right, and without being in their vertical strafe in case they need to back out because of some util or something like that. So you usually want to be standing like something like here.
Remaining. Last player standing.
Revealing area. Revealing area.
So you hear them pushing B right now, and now you're leaving your Soba to die. At this point, you might as well be AFK. Like so far away from being able to help. Alright, so I'm looking at the minimap right now, right? When you're in a situation like this door's closed, they could push up through here. Let's say that you were here, right? You do have a bit of advantage because they're pushing through like a smoke or something like that. But theoretically, like this angle is so bad for them to push through, like they have to be crazy to come through without a flash. So like Phoenix flash, and then if they are flashing, they probably have 2 people. They might flash and double push out or something like that. But in whatever case though, like at best, this is like a 1v1, right? You're not going to get a better fight than a 1v1 because there's no other teammates here. And your util is not like that great at holding space. It's good at taking space, especially with teammates. So over here though, you'll see that your teammates are here up in this advanced region, and you might say, oh, that's not safe. But the truth is that at some point during this round, you guys will get into a gunfight. So you want to pick the ones that are better. So this is a 2v1 right here, maybe more, I don't know. But if both you and Sage were also here, this could be a 4v1, right? Or a 4v2 or whatever the heck this is. Like, you provide 0 value because you're not defending anything. And like, this is a more advantageous fight for your team to take. So like, let's say you were here, maybe you could have traded that kill, maybe you could have saved him from the Phoenix, I don't know. But you guys are just like, you and Sage are basically AFK right now. And this Sky is like forced to fight alone. So like, look how much easier this is when it's 3v1. This Omen was looking for Sky, and then both you and Sage could fight him. Once again, you're completely exposed in the open, so you almost never want to be fighting 2 angles at once. The door's closed, so you don't even have to look this way, unless they had wrapped all the way through here, down here, through market, which is unlikely. They would just come boba and shoot you guys in the back. So like, you only have to watch this angle. You ran forward, which means you're extra exposed. You're like, you really have no cover. Like back here, the Sage can take 1 step here, or 1 step this way.
One dead.
So like, you're really just asking to die. And the Sage is reloading at this time, so they can't really effectively trade you. This Sky is doing something similar to what you were doing. She's like running away in a direction that can't help you guys when the stores are closed. Oh, like she was reloading as well, so she needed this cover. Notice you never buy your second eye. It's weird. So I'm just looking at like your crosshair placement here. So once again, your crosshair placing like so close to the wall, I don't think you'd be able to react at that speed. Unless they like were very far away and they were shift walking over here to grab the orb or something like that. But if someone was close on this wall and they were like swinging, like they would probably be out to here or something like before you could react. You also didn't even clear it. So if you're going to check it and say, oh, this is clear, and then run away, you probably want to at least clear this longer angle here. Otherwise, like, they just hear your footsteps running away and they can just shift walk up and follow you. And they're like, oh, they're probably rotating off B right now.
Enemy spotted A.
Spike down A.
So now that you open this door, if they kill you and they're mid, they just instantly get to B. People usually like to keep this door closed. Could go after that gun if you wanted. This is a pretty dangerous angle. You didn't have your gun out at all.
One enemy remaining.
So this is a pretty long range for running gun. Like, this should probably be burst strafe range. And like, look, so like, what's it called? So when you're ADS, like the bullets go at your crosshair. This is also not like a great, Spectre's not a good gun for ADSing, for scoping.
One enemy remaining.
Need help.
Probably grab his gun.
Planting.
Going B.
Did he not have a phantom?
Nice wall.
Watching here.
Yeah, once again, this range is burst strafe range. I would not really recommend ADSing here, because let's say you ADS and you do like see him or whatever, like you have to headshot him 3 times in order to kill him with the Spectre. Like, that's just unlikely. I'd rather have the increased fire rate and increased movement speed. Also, there's 4 of you, so like, or sorry, 3 of you. So like, you really just don't want to die. You don't really care if you kill him, as long as you like are like mobile and moving, or like, you know, strafing between your shots, then like you're much harder to hit, and that gives your teammates time to kill him. You outnumber an enemy, the goal is really to stay alive and let your teammates kill. What the heck is she doing? She's like doing the thing that you do, where you just sort of run in the open without your weapon ready. And like, once again, you're staying so far from cover, like you're like 3 steps from cover or something like that, rather than just being that 1 step. So it's like slightly, like you can say it's like, oh, this is an off angle. If you really want an off angle, you could have come all the way across to this piece of cover, and then peeked at the left side of like this whatever this is, signboard thing. I guess that's a signboard thing, whatever. and then fought from that side. But you're just sort of, you're like near the common angle anyway, so you're not really giving yourself any sort of advantage.
Raise dead. Cutting their vision. Gun here.
So here's an example of when you actually do want to put it close to the wall, because if you reverse this and think from their point of view, when they step out here, this wall has to be on their screen when they face you. Like they have no way to be on like this side of the wall to like block your eye. So you might want to toss this eye like up here or something like that. So that way when they come through, like it'll have to be on their screen, and they have to shoot it before they can fight you.
Time to hunt.
I don't know about this dog. I guess it tells them that they're there, but we know that they're there.
I know exactly.
Alright, so all of a sudden you guys are outnumbered. So you guys can either go for a res and even it, and then you can continue to play regular, or you can just like look for fights because you're outnumbered. So higher lower rule, if you have fewer people, you got to play more aggressively, like look for 1v1s before they have time to set up. So you know there's a guy tiles, you know there's at least 2 here, there's Phoenix and Omen. So like, I don't know if this is the right fight, maybe with a Sky Flash behind you or with your Reyna eye, you can try to look for a fight before this Phoenix can like, get up close and ulti. But it also looks like they're gonna rotate A, probably. It's hard to say because in lower elo, oftentimes, even though they have a guaranteed better play on A, like they'll still like YOLO it and push B instead. So you could also just anchor B, like back here, like pretend you're rotating and then just stay here and then whatever. But they can hear you leaving. One's breaking mid door probably. But if you want to pretend like you left, there's no reason to stand out in the open like this. You probably just want to tuck and then wait to hear them do something. And once again, you're just playing without cover there. You're just running to the open, face checking without your gun out. You're exposed, checking this without any sort of cover or your weapon out.
Here.
You know there's 2 mid here. You know there's 2 people like in the smoke or just behind it. You don't have your weapon out. You pulled out your util. Keep changing your mind on what you're looking at. Like you just have to gamble on one side instead of like switching. I guess that first rotation was to jump up here, but you don't really have to look to jump up that. Yeah, your crosshair is like not ready like so much of the time because of this.
Gun here.
Never look at a gun. Unless you're like super safe. Don't look away from this most dangerous angle. So if you had moved this way, then you could be safe. Because you stabbed your knife, now they also know you don't have your gun out. There's someone there. That came from A main. Yeah, it did come from A main. He like ran away from it.
Joke's over! You're dead!
So you're trying to go all the way around here. So your Sage... Looking at your Sage, like she's trying to fight here. You should have your gun ready to trade her. Or you can toss an eye for her if you want. But I think like because she's running out so fast, you sort of just have to have your gun out. So that could have been a trade there.
30 seconds left.
You shouldn't really put your gun away when you know that there's an enemy right here. If you want to take your eye out, you can wait till you cross to cover first. This is pretty dangerous because this eye doesn't protect you, so she should step out and kill you right here. Not bad. Your crosshair did drop here. So your crosshair here is like about chest level, I guess. And then here, because you're pulling down, so your crosshair is like even lower. Almost hitting legs. Heal, because there's probably both elbow.
1 enemy remaining.
I don't know if you had to reswing quite so fast. Like, I guess you didn't know where your Sky was, but like your Sky is really far away.
1 enemy remaining.
Like when you were fighting up here, or when you were moving around up here, like I didn't remember exactly where she was, but I didn't remember her being close by. So like forcing a fight after you get this fade kill is probably not great. Might be safer to like push this way, or maybe push and take elbow and basically wait for your Sky to get here, or wait until you have map info on where your Sky is.
Last
Why is the video not loading?
Revealing area.
Once again, you're holding 2 angles at once. So you're holding here and you're holding here, and you're doing the thing again where you're changing your mind. Since you're changing your mind here, your crosshair is not ready for either. Here, you're giving the information that you're leaving again. Like, notice your Sova was shift walking, I think. No, he wasn't. He was full running. Okay, so now he knows that 2 people left B. So if there's anyone that was just behind this wall in B, they'd hear like, oh, I hear footsteps and Reyna's high heels leaving B site. Oh, but they're stupid too. They just have like 3 people running B main.
Deploying drone.
Gonna pick me. I'll take me.
Probably be coming that there's a bunch of B main. Be on site.
Hawk out.
Stealing sight.
I don't know about this eye. So if they're already on site and they're in this smoke, like tossing this eye is just going to force them to walk into it. And your Sage is running into it without her weapon. You need to have your gun out here. Also, your Sky is running gun out. Like she needs someone to protect her too. Like if someone swings here, like she just did.
Hawk out.
Stealing sight.
Blinding. Fire in this hole. Many enemies. They're concussed.
So you like take your knife out here. Like you're the only one that can survive Rey's ulti. So if she comes and tries to fight you, you just kill her and then dismiss the rocket. Get your gun out. Ran too far here with your knife out. Here you're already peeking this angle and you don't have your gun ready. Gun's still not ready.
Spike down. B.
There.
I wouldn't waste this dismiss. So at this point, if you wanted to, you can just knife run and jump around randomly and then like, doesn't matter because you have this dismiss ready. As soon as you see a flash of an enemy, you can grab it.
Down.
But since you grab it early, like now your timer is like falling. So like, let's say there was someone here, you'd have less time to maneuver. Whereas if you jumped out here and then grabbed it when you peeked this corner, for instance, you'd have like a full bar to maneuver with rather than only like half-ish.
There.
And now when you came out of it, you didn't have your gun out. Or you could have crossed to here and had your gun ready.
Spike down. B.
Like use the orb as a get out of jail free card. Don't like just grab it as soon as you see it.
There.
And here you're peeking without your weapon. Like when you could have just waited for your gun to be ready. You got, what is it? Yeah, I think it's just because of the head thing.
Down. B.
There.
That you missed also. That round was your fault there. You're really late here. You should be right next to him.
Flight.
Hey.
You really like to just route on these like same paths. So right now, no one, I think, did they close the door? I don't think so. So there's no one guarding market right now. So while you're running back and forth here full loud, they know Sova droned here. They know that you play B all the time. If they hear you running around, they can just walk here and then walk up through here, or they can just come and shoot you through market and you don't even have your gun ready. Or shoot this Sova. Okay, so he gets lucky that he gets one, but yeah, he could have just killed you guys. Now you're running around without your gun, even though you know that they died in here, so there's probably at least 2.
Down. B.
So I don't know if you know how much faster it is to move with your, what's it called? To move with knife than it is with, it's in the right. Oh man, the game reset. Video reset. Here's the round. Okay.
These parasites aren't going to take one.
So when you have a rifle out, you only move 20% slower than when you have your knife out. So like, I think like maybe half or more of your deaths were because you didn't have your gun ready. You could have just been moving 20% slower and then like not been at a disadvantage for all those fights. So if you're gonna cross, like I think people usually cross here because you have the timing to cross to that side of the board. But here, if they full run it, I don't think you have time to cross. And with a judge, that's really dangerous.
Hawk out.
Whereas if you had crossed to here and then didn't hear anything, maybe you could jiggle this once and then start trying to move to here and it's a little safer. This is a long angle. I don't know if I would peek this with the judge. Maybe classic for this because the flash cleared close, so you know there's no one close.
Multiple enemies mid.
I was about to say, this is also a very long angle that you can't really fight with judge. Oh, I would not use all my ammo there. That's scary.
Hawk
I would not run into the open without your gun out. Because you know that there's more people. Like, you heard them all down here. This was expected. Also, if they know where you are with a judge, you might as well fall back. So think of it this way. Let's say they spotted you and they know you have a judge. I would just completely leave and they would be like, there was someone B main with a judge. As long as you leave quietly, like think how dangerous it is for them to take this space back. And you could just go into your spawn and AFK and you'd be providing value because you had provided like very scary info for them, right? Of course, even better, you could play in market or something like that and use this judge to hold doors somewhere different. And like they might use all their fade prowlers to like be like, oh, make sure the judge isn't here if they want to be very diligent. Suss this half. Missed a few rounds. So I think it took me missed like 2 rounds in here. It's reporting to the second half. Alright, so attack. So like I know you can't see where your teams are, but like first off, you're not as close as you could be. So as duelist, you should be fighting first. You also have a spike, which you probably shouldn't have. You probably should drop that to someone else. But you should be pressed all the way up here in this corner. That gives you the fastest timing. When you step out here, like since you're close to this like front wall, I think people usually expect you to like hug this left wall and then hold out here maybe. I'm trying to think. I don't know if you were further, maybe it depends, right? So if you choose to hug this wall, then they would move out wide. If you choose to move out wide and watch this side, then they should hug this wall. But like you're sort of doing neither. You're sort of just walking forward in the middle. It makes it like kind of awkward where like the team can't really cover each other. Or when you change your mind too. So you see what they're doing? This is like what I'm talking about. Like usually this person is going to watch this side. Sky will then clear this left so that Sage can safely step out. Okay, so right here is also like, there's no chance that someone can peek you without fighting the Sage first. So you should like you don't really have to worry about this side. The side that is usually most dangerous is this one. The reason being like this, like Sky has to clear all these sides and stuff like that. Someone standing on one of these corners or standing like here can shoot you in the back. And there might not be an angle that Sky can see them, depending on how they're standing.
Revealing area.
Cutting their vision.
Let's see this. Alright, so on the spacing front, like you also backed up. So you're a duelist, it's your job to go first. So because you're in the middle, you're not well suited to look left or look right. So like because you didn't pick one of these spots, it's like not great. Also, like notice how if Sage fights someone and she has to back out, she's pretty likely to crash into you right here. Because you're blocking either the horizontal or the vertical for movement.
Revealing area.
Cutting their vision.
No.
Gun here.
Deploying drone.
Are you following?
Gun here.
Okay, so you can say that like, oh, because my team slowed down, that like I canceled the hit, which is fine. Like 4v4 is actually better if you guys want to reset and go B, which you guys are very unlikely to do at this point.
Deploying drone.
Right. But like right now, like here at this point, you just abandoned your team. So they're counting on you to enter. You're the only duelist right now. And since you're not going, so they're not going. And you guys wasted a lot of time here. Like from their point of view, they heard a bunch of people, they saw a bunch of people, they can still hear you running around, they hear you guys using util. You're grabbing an orb when they could pop out of this smoke. Like they heard Sova droning. So like they could totally just like, they hear the Sova drone, they hear the orb tap, they know 2 people are not ready to fight, they could step through right here. But instead they come from flank.
Quiet now.
Spike
But at least
down
Sova gets the
A.
trade. Well, I really don't like what your team's doing. Your team should have went with Brim. Alright, so you just made a bunch of information, or made a bunch of noise B. So at this point, they're probably like, oh, it's probably a B hit. You're solo pushing, so this is like the most dangerous. First off, there's no one's going to appear through this window or jump up here, right? So yeah, sure, they could have crossed, but you're alone. So when you're on attack, your main advantage is numbers advantage, where you can sort of choose where you hit and you can have like more people there, like when you go. Your team is wasting that. So you're solo B, your Brim is solo from spawn, your Sky is solo from like tiles, and your Sova is solo from bot mid, and your Sage is not close enough to help anyone. So there's the solo kill. You're making noise here, so it's very like you're at disadvantage in this 1v1 here, or 1v2.
Cutting their vision.
You didn't check behind that block or whatever. So they have the unbreakable trip here. It's like nothing you can really do about it.
There.
Can't really break it through the wall, I don't think.
This
All right, so here at least they have 2 people. So at least this is a 2v2. But if you were here, you could have a 3v2.
fight.
So this is now a dangerous angle. You should have your gun out. You have 2 bullets left. You should have reloaded it instead of playing with your knife. Sova died because he didn't have his gun out.
Napa raise.
You jumped up before your gun was ready.
Reloading.
Napa raise. Ice and
You're
smoke.
late, so now your Sova's entering for you.
Oh, ice and smoke. Ice and smoke.
Launching smoke.
You're really slow here. So I know your team wants to walk, but when you hear your Brim running, especially when you hear him running past you, at this point you have to catch up to him. So this is about this. You're like a little, maybe a smidge slow for the spacing, and also you're vertically aligned with him, which we don't want. Like you need to be like running, probably coming this way to watch his left, so that when he dies from this guy in this corner or whatever, then you can get the trade on him. Actually, I don't even know if they have the time to be here, but whatever. And then at this point, you don't have time to take out your util because this Brim is like fighting right now. Like there could be a guy here at any moment. You need to be ready to trade him. And there is a guy here, and you're not ready to trade him. So here you should have killed the Phoenix.
Revealing area.
Spike down A.
Also, you're like making him entry for you. Once again, you're wasting your numbers advantage.
Down A.
So like last time it was actually sort of good you canceled. This smoke is awful, by the way. But yeah, last time was sort of good that you canceled the hit because like you didn't have a teammate with you. You're wasting your numbers advantage. Whereas your team is properly using numbers advantage here.
I need healing.
All right, so at this point, the entire enemy team is probably already at A.
Reloading.
Gun here.
Heal up, squad. Time to hunt.
There.
So the longer you wait here, the worse this is going to get. So right now, there's only Fade, Raze, and probably one other person here. Though if you wait even longer, the Cypher can move all his trips and put the trips to completely trap you in, set up camera. Like they can just grenade you or something.
Last player standing.
Yep. So this is what it should have looked like when the Phoenix killed your Brim. This should have been you swinging out to get the trade. And they even had the 3rd player here, just in case the first 2 weren't enough. Like, even though they're defense, they properly use numbers advantage.
Take
Let's
flight.
spike again. So notice once again, like you guys are all split. Can't help each other. Also, you know she's a judge, so I'm not sure this is the best angle to be playing. Also, you're very close to this corner, so if she does walk into this smoke, it's very likely she can see your hands or your gun barrel. Your crosshair is really low. If she comes in here, she's like up here. Put your gun away. Could be close on you. They are close on you. Gun's not ready again.
Spike down mid.
Is it to the end of the game? Yes.
One enemy remains.
Alright, so I'll look up a summary for like the main points and type it up. But I think the main thing is just not having your gun ready most of the time. Like a lot of your deaths are just like you just don't have your gun out. So to practice that, just have your gun out at any point that an enemy can see you. And you might be like, that's almost all the time. And it's like, yeah, you should have your gun out almost all the time. Only take out your util like when you're like able to tuck. So like let's say you want to take out your util and you're watching this long angle, right? You can say like, oh, I can't take put my gun away and use util because what if they just turn this corner and like fight me like at the moment I take my util out. So like sure that's true, but like you know how to jump spot. If you like jump spot this, then you'd be like, oh, there's no one here, and once there's no one there, then you can have your util out, or maybe you just hear them running. You don't have to look, so you can like toss the util early before like you walk into a dangerous place. Also, like let's say you're already here, you could also fall back to here if you really want to, because it's like the time it takes for you to take util and fall back to here, they can't possibly like peek you and shoot you because you know that this area is clear. So they just don't have the timing to reach you. But that's like sort of like more semantics. Like you're taking out util when you see an enemy and then you walk into the open while you take out util or like take out your knife or jump around. Let's see, what other major things? I think that you don't really think about playing with your numbers advantage or doubling up with people. So a lot of times you're just solo pushing something rather than going with a second person. Or you see teammates that are like in a location and you're like, oh, there's humans there already. There's people there already. I don't need to be there, but it should be the opposite. It's like, oh, there are people there. I might as well be there too to give us a bigger advantage if they come there. And if they go somewhere else, well, that's fine. We'll just like retake or we'll work as a team and use numbers together. So it's like sort of a weird way to think if you're used to people spreading out like on defense, like 1, 2, like 3, 4, 5. But like usually when you do a spread out defense, all the defenders are playing in a way that if they jiggle and they see someone or they hear something, they can fall back. And then they fall back to a place where there's like more people. In lower elos, people just sort of fight to the death and they just sort of die where they stand and like die solo. So as attack, you sort of just use your numbers and sort of death ball places, either as 3 or as 5 or something. As defense, like usually you spread out and then fall back and then you death ball or like you like group up and then use your numbers to then take space in different areas. Let's see other stuff. I'm trying to think if anything will jog my memory. Make sure you entry for your team. Like there's a lot of times when like your team is way in front of you. Make sure you trade them like when they're running in. Also like the left right thing. Trying to see if I can find a spot where like you guys are advancing and pushing a side, but I can't find one right now. Oh, right here. Like this left right thing.
Launching.
Usually you want to either like show you're coming to right side or show you're like hugging left side. You don't want to be like in this middle where like people don't know what you're doing. So like if you look at this angle, like if you're watching this left side, your crosshair would be here and you'd be strafing in a way that your crosshair is like always ready like on this wall. But instead you're holding W. So like because you're holding W, if someone does peek you, or like if you peek into someone, like you're at disadvantage here. Like if someone's holding this angle, they see you first.
Launching smoke.
Also, it makes it really obvious because people are used to people only holding A or D. So if you're holding only D and watching this, then they know, oh, you're watching the left side. I will hug this one, watch the right side. But you really have to trade this guy. Or entry for them. And like this is a bad place to take out your eye because you don't know what's safe over here on this side.
Still in sight.
Alright, I think that's all for now. I'll just see if I can think of anything else and I'll type up the notes. See you next time.